This is the video for Mod 7, Lesson 6B, Applications of the Unit Circle. So the goal of this is using the unit circle to evaluate trig functions. So the big takeaway we saw from making the unit circle, because there's a lot of things going on here, but again, we're just worried about applying it. We're not going to worry about the rest of it. So really your x value is cosine, your y value is sine. And then if you were to do tangent, tangent is y over x, or sine over cosine. So I can find all these things if we need to. So the first question is, what is the sine of 210 degrees? 210 degrees, we're going to find it on our unit circle. It's right there. Sine is the y value. And so our answer would be -1/2. So the value of that we can read right off the unit circle. For the next two examples, same thing. So tangent of 300, we're going to use the idea again that cosine sine is xy, and tangent is going to be y over x. All right, so tangent of 300, we have 300 degrees right here. We want tangent, so I'm going to do -√3/2, 1/2. The 2's cancel out, and I'm left with a -3/1, or just -3. And so my answer, exact answer, would be -3. And then the last one we're talking about is secant, secant of 180. Remember, if you find, that's the reciprocal of cosine. So if I find cosine, I'm just going to flip my answer. So 180 is over -10. Cosine is -1. So if I flip it, you would get your answer still to be -1. So the next one, again, we're looking at we can use our unit circle to help us out, or we can even do what we did previously. So a few things we know. So cosine is 1/2, which is positive. Secant is the reciprocal, so that's 2/1 or 2. But they also tell us tangent is negative, right? So if we think about all Slurpees taste cold, or however you want to remember it, if tangent is negative, we know it can't be quadrant 1. And if cosine is positive, it's going to be in this quadrant here. So we're looking for where cosine is 1/2, which is our x values, right? Because it's in the form of cosine sine. So where do we see an x value of 1/2, specifically in quadrant 4? So I actually see it right here. It's going to be 300 degrees. And so we can do Pythagorean theorem if we want to, but we can actually answer the rest of the question now. We already know that all the other ratios will be negative. Sine is going to be -√3/2. Cosecant will be the reciprocal, and we'll rationalize at the end. And then tangent is going to be y over x, so -√3/2, and then 1/2, so -√3. And then this will be the reciprocal. We can then rationalize at the very end. And then those would be your final answers. For this last example, same thing. So given sine is -√2/2, so I know this is -√2/2. Cosecant will be the reciprocal, which we'll rationalize at the end. And so sine is negative, but notice cosine is positive. So if we, again, think of our all students take calculus, or all Slurpees taste cold. We know that if the signs are different, it can't be quadrant 1, and they tell us cosine is positive. So we're looking for, again, it just so happens we're looking for one that's also in quadrant 3 or 4. And that's just a coincidence. So when I look at this, then I know cosine is going to be positive, but tangent is going to be negative. So I'm going to put those signs in there. I'm looking for sine. So again, it's cosine, sine as my point. And I'm looking which of those has basically a y value of negative root 2 over 2. And that's going to be 315 degrees. And so when we fill the rest of it out, I can see cosine is going to be root 2 over 2. And then tangent, if I do negative root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2, I get negative 1. And the reciprocal is still negative 1. And that would be your answer for that problem. If you have questions from the notes, please make sure you're asking questions in class, during T-Bolt time, or in the center. You do need to complete the U-Tries to receive full points for these video notes. So when these are checked in class, you do need to make sure you have your U-Tries completed to receive full points. So again, the remaining problems from this section need to be completed, even if they're not perfect. We need to see that you're trying the steps out before you come to class so you're ready to ask questions. All right, thank you very much and have a great rest of the day.